Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, distinguished guests, and folks of all stripes, put your hands together for the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. Houston, we have Paul Salazar Jr.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Space Cadet Sports Podcast, your Houston sports podcast for diehard Houston sports fans from a diehard Houston sports fan. I'm Paul Salazar Jr., your favorite diehard Astros fan podcaster. I am a writer, producer, overwhelmed person, and creative multi-hyphenate. Of course, I am a Houston native, and I have the receipts to prove it. Not only did I live in Houston when there was nary a single Torchy's Tacos in town, but I lived in Houston when the Heights was mostly Hispanic Latinx neighborhood. There was a Church's in the Heights. There's no space for the Church's to be in the Heights anymore. I've spent the last decade or so as a comedy writer here in Los Angeles, and now I am podcasting. That's what happens when you hit 10 years out here. You foolishly start thinking that hiking could be fun, and you're given a podcast. Welcome to said podcast. This is what my brother calls the Paul Broad Pod Ball blog. Hey, brother, why don't you go ahead and check out my Substack, which is spacecadetsports.substack.com for the full blog experience, or the full blog experience, depending on how you heard that there. I started Space Cadet Sports as a passion project because most media is absolutely infuriating from a Houston Astros fan perspective. Everybody's either a doom and gloom Astros fan or a national media hater. Here we try to love our teams in Houston and root for them, while also wanting to discuss the ins and outs of the team without too much homerism. Keyword, we try here. We try to be reasonable, not too hot-takey or reactionary. And now that football season is here too, we're getting into the Texans as well. We're recording this transmission from sunny Los Angeles here, where I'm joined as always by my co-host and co-producer, the Roz to my Frasier. Carla the dog is here with me, and as you know, repeat listeners know, she may get on mic from time to time. If there is going to be a hot take, most likely it is going to come from her. On this episode, it is once again Paul's picks on this Thursday afternoon here, where I go into the Sleeper app and I let you know, full disclosure, what I am doing in my friend's Pick'em League. I share my picks with you, and I let you know how I'm doing on this season with my football picks. We also check in with my fantasy league to see if I'm embarrassing myself in my friend group there. We're also going to just briefly talk about your Houston Texans in this little shouty podcast that I'm trying to do today. My voice is, if you can't tell, it's a little strained. So if I hit a hard wall, we might have to make this a little bit shorter of a podcast than normal. For those of you who are repeat listeners, thanks for coming back. For those new listeners, welcome to the podcast. I'm glad you're joining me here for football season. I definitely love blogging and podcasting about my Houston Astros, but seeing that baseball season is officially over, I don't know if they're still playing baseball out there. For me, it's done. I'm definitely getting into the Houston Texans, and we'll be picking up with the Houston Rockets as their preseason has started. They dropped their first game in the preseason to the Timberwolves, I believe. I'm having a hard time remember. I didn't write it in my notes foolishly. It's still preseason. We're excited. But they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in an overtime game just last night. We're excited about the Houston Rockets and what they are going to do this season. If you're a new listener, welcome. And I also want to tell you, if you're a new listener, my old listeners know this, but, we try to be ambitious here on the podcast. And here, we've learned that we are in the top 105 of Australia's baseball podcasts. Definitely a prestigious group to be in. Being in the top 105, I bet you can guess where exactly we lie. But we're in the rankings, folks, and I want to shoot up those podcast charts, folks. If you know any Australians, send them this podcast. Pretty please. I think just one more listener will do it. If you know any Australian people, send them this podcast, folks. Welcome to the podcast today. Pretty soon, we will have a new podcast out to recap the Astros season. It was a tough one for me, and it ended. Frankly, it ended sooner than I expected. I just launched another podcast Sunday morning, pre-recorded. As the Astros season was ending, so it kind of delayed that a bit, but it is still coming out. Today, we are going to go ahead and talk about Paul's picks. So let's kind of look back and see how we did in Week 5. It's been an up and down season for your boy. Week 5 was a good week for me, however, as I went 9-5 on the week. Was really hoping to do a little bit better. My little cutie, Sarah, my partner who is in the Pigskin Pick'em League, my friend Pigskin Pick'em League, with me, she beat me. She had one more point than me. She is closing that gap. She is tied for 5th in the league, whereas I am tied for 3rd. She is right behind me, folks. So definitely trying to come back this week as she beat me this past week. She is actually in 2 different Pigskin Pick'em leagues. I'm trying to scale it back as I'm podcasting and doing a million things, but she is very much into it this season. She definitely beat me this week and has the receipts to prove it. But let's go back and see exactly what I did wrong this past week. We like to go back and see the picks I got wrong. So let's see here. We're going back to Week 5. Definitely started off the week strong this time. I'm definitely, after Week 4, I got 9 wins. I was hoping to get 10 wins in this week. I just couldn't do it. All I had to do was pick the hometown team, but I didn't have the guts to do it, but we will get to that. The first loss of the week that I got was on Sunday, and it was the game that I watched, the game that I recapped with you on the previous podcast, the Houston-Buffalo game. Houston won 23-20. It definitely was won on a last-minute field goal. There was interceptions, there was turnovers, there were moments where it looked like it could have gone either way, and I kind of hedged my bets a little bit. I felt that while this game really, I felt like it was a game that one of the teams was going to lose, the way the Texans have been playing, I was thinking that there would be some penalties. I was thinking that there could be some little errors that really ate into the game and cost them. Luckily for the Texans, it didn't cost them. They didn't have Nico Collins. They struggled a little bit. They had some ups and downs, but overall, they were able to win this game and get me a loss on my pick'em. So I'm very happy that I got this one wrong. But man, I don't think I would have gone back and picked the Texans. I was trying to do the reverse jinx, perhaps. But yeah, that was my first one wrong. The Texans won that one, and we were really happy here. The next game I got wrong was the Miami-New England game. Miami beat New England 15-10. I got it. I got it wrong. I felt like Miami, could beat New England. Miami I felt like New England could beat Miami, mostly, trying to think of that narrative that Miami plays New England very well, but looking at the team Miami has, looking at the coaching that New England has, thinking that maybe this would be the time that New England kind of punch them back. It didn't happen, though. That 10 points was not great, so that was just a bad call by me. The next game I got wrong, I was very furious about. Once again, I cannot get a Cardinals game right, folks. The Arizona Cardinals, they win this game against the 49ers. I believe this was Paul's pick of the week, picking the 49ers here. So once again, I get the pick of the week wrong. The Cardinals had enough offense to outlast the 49ers. really making me wonder what exactly the 49ers are up to this season. And even more confounding, the New York Giants beat the Seattle Seahawks 29-20. Congrats to my Giants fans friends, but I did not anticipate this whatsoever. I think if you would simulate this a million different times, I would always go with the Seahawks in this game. I got it wrong. Congrats to the Giants for playing some good football. The last game that I got wrong was the Dallas Cowboys versus Pittsburgh game. Once again, it's the same kind of thing. I think Pittsburgh's defense, I would have picked it, 10 times out of 10 in this game. Dallas just was able to outlast them, and I got it wrong. So truly, if I would have just picked the Texans or the Cardinals game right, I would have had my 10th win. Frustrating week for me. I did get a lot of it right on a shorter week there with not as many games, but still, it was pretty frustrating to not get that 10th win when I was desperately trying to get that double-digit win week once again. That put me as 9-5 on the week. Overall, I am 45-33 on the season. Let me know how you're doing. If you're doing better than me, you can come around and let me know how I got it wrong. Get at me in the comments. Tell me how you're doing on the season. 45-33. I'm pretty happy with that. Definitely taking some misses that I wish I can clean up and just think through a little bit more. But most of these, I think I would have just got wrong. I'm lucky to get the ones right sometimes that I get right. So we're going to go ahead and move on to week 6 and pick the week's winners in week 6. So let's go ahead and look at the lines. We're going to look at the over-unders. I'm getting this all today from CBS on Thursday before the Thursday night football game to see what the lines and the spreads are at this moment. So let's kind of look at it here. The Thursday night game tonight, that's going to be the 49ers at the Seahawks. Seahawks are the home dogs with 3.5 points. The over/under is 49. This one's a tough one. I really feel like both of these teams disappointed last week. You would think that the San Francisco 49ers would be able to take this game normally, but you don't know who the 49ers are after that week loss against Arizona, or that week 5 loss against Arizona, I should say. It was a weak loss. I guess every loss is a weak loss. But, I just think that out of the two teams, you have to go with San Francisco here. I don't think, the Seahawks are, going to give me enough confidence to choose them over San Francisco here. So I'm going to go with the 49ers. In this game. Sorry, I had 49 written as the over-under, and I was just very confused as to what that meant. I was like, 49ers, and then I just put a 4. I guess I already predicted 49ers, but no, I'm reading my notes weirdly. Then we have a London game on Sunday to start off the day. The first game is going to be played across the pond. We have Jacksonville at Chicago, which obviously, Chicago via London. Chicago's favored here by 1.5. Definitely a London spread there with a 44.5 over/under. This is, honestly, this is my stay away game of the week. I don't really know any one of these teams. They both look pretty bad. They're both trying to improve on their performances this season and kind of solidify themselves before their season slips away from themselves. And they're both playing a game in London where no one has a competitive home field advantage, and they both have to do a lot of traveling. Truly with this game, for some reason, I'm edging towards the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know why exactly. I feel like Chicago is the favorite in this game, but I guess there's just so much wonkiness in this game. There's so much silliness in this game. I hardly ever pick an AFC South team to win. But when I have chosen to win, it has been against the Bears. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Jacksonville against Chicago and London in this game. We're looking at this as one of our underdogs of the week for one of Carla's dogs of the week. She definitely is looking at me, trying to tell me to get this pick right and stop, embarrassing her name out here in these streets. If I'm gonna say something's hers, I better get it right. We then have the Commanders at the Ravens. That's gonna be the Ravens are favored by 6.5 points. There's a 51.5 over under in this game. As much as I think Washington's offense has very much improved, and a lot of people are watching Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, and hoping that maybe they can be a real football team one day. I do think that the Ravens are fighting tooth and nail to get some more wins this season, and I think this is just going to be another win for them. I think 6.5 is a little bit high, to give them. I think it could be a little closer, but I think the Ravens take the game here. Then we have the Arizona Cardinals at the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are given 5 points here as a favorites, and the over-under is 47.5. So, Packers given 5 points. Arizona Cardinals being the underdogs here. I'm really struggling with these Arizona games. However, I think the Green Bay Packers are going to take it at home. We're going to go with the Packers and hope that the Cardinals don't bite me here. Let's see here. The next game is going to be your Houston Texans at the New England Patriots. The Patriots are home dogs. They are plus 6.5, and the over-under here is 38. A pretty low over-under there. So far, the lowest of the week. We saw plenty of games left, but they don't anticipate the Patriots scoring very much here. They anticipate the Texans winning, and so do I. I'm going with Houston in this game. It is a little bit of a trap game feel. You hope that the Texans aren't just riding high on that win in Buffalo, and they actually take their competitors seriously and show up ready to play in a tough environment in New England. Then we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints are home dogs. That's going to be 3.5 points there, and 41.5 over under for the game. I think this is a tough one for me. I have been high on New Orleans this season and their offense. That Kubiak and Carr offense just really makes me nostalgic, and I guess for some reason I think they can win football games. I keep picking them. I do think that I do think that Tampa Bay has the edge here, but for whatever reason, maybe it's because they're home, maybe it's because I've just been bullish on them and I think everybody's got it wrong. I'm going with New Orleans as the home dogs here to win this game. We now have Cleveland at Philly, who has had a tough week baseball wise at least, but you have Abbott Elementary coming back, so that's a good thing happening for Philadelphia there. Philadelphia is heavily favored in this game by 9.5 points with a 42.5 over under. I don't think anybody in the world, even people in Cleveland, are picking Cleveland to win this game. Philly is my choice here. Then we have the Colts at Titans. So this is going to be an AFC rival match here. The Titans are favored here by 2.5 points. Over under in the game is going to be 43. This isn't one of those games where it's like I don't want to pick either one of them. I think it's going to be a hard fought game, whether it's a defensive game or an offensive battle. Either way, this is going to be a battle fought tooth and nail. I'm actually going with the Colts as the underdogs in this game. I think I trust the Colts more than I like the Titans, if that makes sense. I don't know here. That's just a gut feeling, a gut call. So we're going with Indy in this game. Then we have the LA Chargers at the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are home dogs by 3 points. I think the Chargers get this game. The Broncos have surprised me. I think the Chargers are trying to play great defense. I think they can hold the Broncos offense, fairly low, and we'll have, two touchdowns to win the game, and that it's going to be that kind of a game, or two scores to win a game, even if they can't muster up the touchdowns, because the Broncos defense is pretty solid too. So this is a defensive match here. The over-under of 35.5 is probably going to be the lowest of the week. I say that, and this next game comes a little close. It's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders are home dogs. They have 3 points here. They're given 3 points. The over-under is 36.5, so 1 point higher than the previous game. I'm going to go with the favorite in this one. I like Pittsburgh. We're going to go with Pittsburgh to beat the Raiders. I think that is the right call. The next game is going to be the Atlanta Falcons versus the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers, another home dog here. This one is 6 points. However, they're definitely favoring the Falcons by 6 here. The over/under is 47. I'm also favoring the Falcons. The Panthers are just they're just pretty lowly. I think the Falcons are I've said we don't know if they're the best worst team or the worst good team. I think they're kind of the worst good team, in my opinion. I'm going with them here against the Panthers. The next game is going to be the Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are joining the home dogs here. They are underdogs by 3 points. The over-under is 52. I'm also going to go with Detroit. I'm going with the logic of Detroit being better, even with the Cowboys at home, even coming off of a win against Pittsburgh. I don't think the Cowboys can beat. Obviously they can beat the Lions any given Sunday, as my friend Al Pacino says, right? But I like the Lions a whole lot more than the Cowboys in this game. I'm going to go ahead and go with them. Then we have the Cincinnati Bengals versus the New York Giants. This is a stay-away game. My goodness. The Giants are home dogs, I should say. Another home dog. Lots of home dogs this week for Carla. I think the Giants given 3.5 points here. The over-under is 48. This is another stay-away game. I don't want anything to do with this game. The Bengals have been bingling me all season long whenever I feel confident about them. They kind of make me scared and make it really close or make me lose my pick. So in this game, I am going to pick the Bengals because I don't think the Giants are a very good football team. But because I'm picking the Bengals, I fully expect them to lose this game Sunday night against the Giants. I can't bring it within myself to pick the Giants in this game still, however. Then we have the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. The Jets are home dogs by 2.5 points. The over-under is 41. Folks, the Jets just lost their coach. The Jets are an absolute, just... I guess there's no way to put it, shit show. I was trying to be nice, but yeah, it doesn't look good right now for the New York Jets. The Buffalo Bills are looking to get right. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills to win this game against New York. When we're looking at it here, we're gonna go ahead and do Paul's picks. We're gonna do, the Carla's dog of the week. Paul's pick is going to be simple. We're going to go with Philly. Cleveland at Philly. Philly being the pick of the week seems like the safest choice. It is what I'm going with this week as Paul's pick of the week. And for Carla's dog of the week, let's see here. We do have a lot of dogs. There are a lot out here. There are some options, but I actually think. What do you think, Carla? She's looking at me. She's like, do not get this wrong, Dad. Do not get this wrong. We're going to go with the Steelers as the underdogs in the Raiders game. Just wanted to double check that line. So Carla's dog of the week is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we'll see how that does for us. Let's see. I'm trying to see what we're looking at for week 5. Yeah, Carla's dog of the week last week was New England. So, obviously I didn't get that right for Carla. If I don't get this one right this week, I think she officially is going to take over the podcast for Carla's Picks of the Week and Carla's Dog of the Week. Moving on to the Houston Texans real quickly, as we are looking ahead for Sunday's game at New England. For those of you who haven't heard, Nico Collins is out with an injury. He has been placed on the IL. He will be out for minimally 4 games, it looks like, with a hamstring injury. The Texans were able to win that game without Nico Collins against Buffalo, which is, makes us feel good, but also without Nico Collins, we're worried about what this offense is going to look like. Nico Collins was looking like him. Him and C.J. Stroud were definitely having a nice connection there this season. So to see Nico Collins go out when he was our most important offensive weapon, that is tough to see. However, we have plenty of wide receivers left. We have Stephon Diggs. We have Tank Dell out there. Xavier. We have a lot of, I think we're going to see Tank Dell step up is really what it is. I think we're going to see a whole lot more Tank Dell. We've been asking for more Tank Dell in this offense. There are plenty of mouths to feed in this offense. There's plenty of weapons. We're hoping that offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick, who has gotten a lot of heat this season, can come up with a great game plan to utilize our weapons that we have to keep the defenses honest and to spread the love around so that everybody kind of gets a taste of what C.J. Stroud is serving up. We're hoping that this is a dominant game against New England. Like I said earlier, this kind of has the smell of a trap game. The Houston Texans just beat the Buffalo Bills. They're feeling really good about themselves. In a lot of power rankings, they're shooting up the power rankings. I said that this had an overreaction game feel to it because it is the Buffalo Bills, because it is this early in the season. If the Texans would have won, they would have shot up the power rankings. And if the Texans would have lost, people would say, well, they're not a good team. They might be good against the AFC South, but they're just a pretender. I think it's still a little early to make those kind of big swings when analyzing this team, especially now that they're going forward without Nico Collins for the next couple of weeks. I think this week is going to be very telling as to what their offense is going to look like without him, how they want to operate their offense without Nico Collins, and if it will be effective. I think that the New England Patriots, they might not have the talent on paper, but they will be coached up well. They will be ready with the game plan to try to stifle the Houston Texans offense and to really muck up this game, slow it down, and make it a low-scoring affair. It does have the feel to a trap game to it. However, I am still confident that the Texans could take the win here. I think they have too much talent to lose this game. But, you've said that before. Anybody can win any given Sunday is what Al Pacino is telling me over here. So I do think that this is going to be a win for the Texans, but we don't want them to just lackadaisically walk into this game and really have to kind of put themselves behind the 8 ball with either penalties or just not trying hard enough, or not trying hard enough is not what I'm trying, or not executing the game plan, or the game plan just not really being, effective. There's been a lot of running going on early in downs. There's been a lot of complaining about that. Hopefully, the Texans can look good, set up the run and set up the pass in this game. That being said, let's go ahead and look at the injury report as we're talking about running backs, as we're talking about potential, offense in this game. Obviously, Nico Collins is out. Let's see. Karami Lassiter did not play today. Jimmy Ward did not play, and Robert Woods did not play in Thursday's practice. Dameon Pierce was a full participant. Laramie Tunsil was a full participant. Joe Mixon was a limited participant in practice. So I'm thinking, we might have some Dameon Pierce. There is a potential even for Joe Mixon. So maybe this offense will have a couple more weapons, seeing that Nico Collins is out. There are a lot of injuries, but hopefully the Texans will be prepared. They will, with whatever weapons they have available to them, they will have a great game plan. So yeah, definitely go Texans. We're hoping that they are ready for this game and have a great performance and just win it handedly and don't make us too worried. Let's really quickly, we already did Paul's picks, but let's check in with my fantasy team. Before we wrap up this podcast, we're going to the Thunder Bears League, the league I have with all of my friends that I've known forever. A lot of theater friends, a lot of comedy friends in there. I won last week against my good friend Wookie. I beat the Woo-Woos there, 155.78 to 115.4. You know, both of us are Astros fans. We were having a tough week. You know, I had to make it that much tougher on my homie by spanking him in this game. He's 3-2 and I'm 3-2 after this game. You know, he's definitely a great team that I just kind of caught. I just kind of caught on an off week, and I had a lot of points on the board. I had the Commanders defense, my streaming defense. I picked a really good defense. It got me 25 points. My receivers that got me more than 10 points were Terry McLaurin, Brandon Ayuk. You know, very happy for that. You know, Ayuk got me 20.7 points. That's, you know, this half point PPR league that we play, or half PPR league that we play. You know, Deontay Johnson was not great for me in the week. He only got 4.4 points, him and Dalton Kincaid. However, Jamar Chase got me 42.3 points. You know, when you're playing a guy that gets 42 points, it's a tough one to win. So I was very happy to have Jamar Chase on my team. My running backs weren't so spectacular. James Conner got 13 points. However, Breece Hall is my keeper in this league, got me 5.2 points in the game, really making me struggle that I kept him. I think I had so many players I could have kept. I kept Breece Hall, but you know, I really hope the Jets give him the ball, start force-feeding him, because I need those points. Dak Prescott got me 21.38 points in this game, and it really was a good one for me. All of the points, the only thing I could have started Lockett over Deontay Johnson, Tyler Lockett, but I just didn't know. I liked the Johnson pick. I wouldn't have done it any other way. But moving on to week 6, I am playing against one of the top teams in the league, my good friend Greg Hundemer. Greg Hundemer was just my recent guest on my other podcast about Saturday Night Live. He was on Sunday morning pre-recorded. Go check that out. That's available everywhere. If you're a fan of comedy, sketch comedy, or Saturday Night Live, go check that episode out with Greg Hundemer. He does comedy music, so he did 2 original songs on that podcast as his alias Grundimer. Go check that out if you're a comedy fan. It's really a lot of fun. He's a very talented guy. However, in this week, I hope I spank him just like I did my other friend. He's 4-1 on the season. He's 2nd place in the league. I'm 7th in the league right now, and I need to improve my station to get to the playoffs. I have an 86.6 average of start versus sit accuracy right now, so I'm hoping that I can improve those numbers and keep bumping them forward. But right now, as we sit, I'm projected to have 123.9 points, and Greg is expected to have 110.6. We both have there's no empty spots in our lineups right now, but I do think both of us will probably sub a guy in or out before Sunday for sure. So right now, I do have the edge, but these are projections on Thursday. There could be injuries, there could be anything. We will see how this goes, but I'm hoping I beat Greg and his team, the Los Angeles 69ers. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this podcast for today, folks. That's going to do it for this transmission, Space Cadets. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, rate, review, subscribe, share, bop it, skip it, pop it, all of those wonderful buttons that you have available to you. If we are a small podcast, all of those help me out so much. If you'd be so kind as to give me a 5-star review, that would be amazing, like truly. Thank you so much. Or if that's not your jam, you can check out my Substack. That's spacecadetsports.substack.com. We'll have more articles coming on it soon, but generally it is an Astros blog, so we do have just mostly podcasts on there right now. But if you want to go to this Substack, you type in your email, you get every article, every meme dump, every podcast emailed directly to you for free. Or if you're like me and you like the cell phones and tablets, get the mobile app Substack, go to your store, download Substack, search Space Cadet Sports. When that orange astronaut pops up, subscribe to that. You can click that you want notifications instead of emails, and you get notifications whenever I post an article, meme dump, or podcast for free. And if you want to be so kind and donate to the podcast, you can do that under the spooky season special. You can be a subscriber and donate to the podcast. We are supported by viewers and listeners like you. If you want to let me know how you're doing with your pick'ems this week or this season, please let me know. You can reach out on social media at Paul Salazar Jr. on all social media platforms, or at Space Cadet Sports on Instagram and Threads, and let me know how your week has been. Or you can call in and let me know if I got you pick wrong, or if you disagree with my Texans take. Let me know your take. You can call in and leave a voicemail on SpeakPipe. That's speakpipe.com/Space Cadet Sports. Once again, speakpipe.com/Space Cadet Sports. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. We are a small podcast, and we only go as far as our listeners take us. So thank you for being a great listener. Thank you for coming back, or thank you for checking us out for the first time. If you'd be so kind and give us some support, we would love it. If nothing else, just come back the next time and listen to the next podcast. Remember to be the best that you can be. Keep your head up, kid. And as always, vamos Texans.